Welcome. Today I will be paraphrasing, summarizing, and sharing for the May 21st Al-Anon readings in Courage to Change and a little time for myself. We'll begin with the Serenity Prayer and 3 mindful breaths. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. I will take a moment to look this over. The question is, what is my reaction when I see others struggling? This is a great passage about boundaries. Oh my gosh. I can't think of something with love, disconnecting, distancing with love. I'm having a total blank. Detaching with love. All right, so this is a really good passage. It's about this person, the way that the thing that helped them understand boundaries is visualizing that everybody's on the water in their own rowboats. And that when this person tries to quote unquote help by jumping into someone else's boat to help, it's a violation of the other person's boundaries. And that person is depriving the person of their own learning experience. Plus, they've abandoned their own boat, so they're no longer focused on their own life. I just think that's amazing. Today's reminder: the best thing we can do when we see someone else struggle is to remain in our own boat. If someone is asking for help, we can only show them what worked for us. So the quote is in Discovering Choices, Recovery in Relationships. We can care about other people without taking control of them. So the question again, what is my reaction when I see others struggling? It's hard. It's hard. Yeah. I don't like to see people uncomfortable, unhappy. I really have to work hard at just taking a moment to breathe, because when I find out that someone is struggling or someone looks like they're struggling, my first inclination is to not even think. It's just to pop into action and do whatever I can to make it better, which is usually not in my best interest. And now that I read this, a lot of times none of my business. And I've already known that. It's just I guess it's different when someone is in need of help, say they have some kind of physical injury and they need help, someone has fallen. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about someone who's more in more of a long-term struggle, not necessarily, but for the purposes of what I'm thinking of, if they have trouble managing their money, or they are abusing substances, they're in some kind of legal trouble, they they I'm trying to think of, like, maybe they have transportation issues. And instead of, like, in that situation, instead of saying, oh, well, I'm retired, I can take you wherever you need to go. Wrong answer, right? Because I'm not their personal driver. Although I want to help, the best thing to do is to offer, I guess, like, specific days when maybe they need help, like every now and then. But I'm not anyone's personal driver. Just because I have time doesn't mean I have to fill it by taking care of someone else that isn't my purpose. It's good to help, but it's not good to completely take over something that isn't mine. Like, that's a good example for me, and that hasn't happened to me, but I do know some people, especially like from my volunteer work, that are older. Some of them have unique situations based on, like, their age and where they are in their lives, but not necessarily. I mean, because that could happen to anyone where they can't drive somewhere and you know arrangements need to be made. But that's just what came to me at this point. When I think of my son, my gosh, I'm so proud of my son. He's going to be 30 next month, and he's like, I really see. He's matured so much that, like, he's. I think I've said this before, but it's like relating to an adult now. And he's obviously 30. I mean, he's been like this for a while, but they do say that brains take time to mature, and I just feel like he's he's had so much life experience, and he's experienced so much that I haven't even. But the reason why I brought up my son is because, financially, it can be challenging to figure out how to manage your money. And I guess we all go through it in our own way when we have our own bills to pay, and um, when we're young adults. And it was one of my biggest challenges, and it's less so now. So I even feel more comfortable talking about it because my son hasn't needed financial help in months. But one of the things that was really hard to do was to see my son struggle with money, and, like, how much money is the appropriate amount to help him out, and at what point am I keeping him, or at one point was I keeping him from figuring out what he really can and cannot afford. So, I mean, thank goodness I feel like he's figuring that out. So, I mean, I can apply this to lots of different situations in my life currently. And there, of course, like I said, there are different levels of struggling. Um, but I love the visual of climbing into someone else's boat and abandoning my own. That's really helpful. Moving right along. I will take a moment. Oh, this has a highlighted sentence. That's two sentences and a tab. All right. I'm going to look this over. This is about step 7. Humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. When we calmly ask for help, we don't demean ourselves. We simply accept our relationship with our higher power. True humility is not humiliating. It mentions again the partnership we have with our higher power, the higher power of our understanding. Humility is perpetual quietness of the heart. We do our part and trust our higher power to do the rest. And it reminds us to ask for for healing from our higher power. Today's reminder: we can ask our higher power to remove our shortcomings with a peaceful heart. And the quote is from Alcoholism, the Family Disease. Humility helps us keep perspective and be open to the truth. I love the whole concept of humility. And to me, humility reminds me that we're all equal. And it helps me with my sense of worthiness. It's kind of like a self-esteem thing. Like, because of humility, I know that no one is better or worse than I am. And it helps me to be peaceful within myself. I love the reminder that we do our part and we trust our higher power to do the rest. That part is highlighted. And I also highlighted the part that says humility is perpetual quietness of heart. I think it's because there's nothing to fear, there's nothing to compare when we feel humility. That's why it's quietness of the heart, because we're calm, we're peaceful. We can just be who we are. I can just be who I am. And when I ask my higher power to remove my shortcomings, it's basically me saying, please help me. That's all. That's simple. Please help me. And then with step 11, help me to do your will. I think that's it. It's so amazingly simple. But I love the readings as a reminder. We'll close out with the serenity prayer and 3 mindful breaths. Here we go. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Sending you love. Take care.